Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video. I go on holiday tomorrow and so I need to film this intro before I get on the ferry. I thought I would just vlog everything I read in the next week whilst I'm on holiday because I go fucking feral when I'm on holiday. I once read 10 books in 7 days on holiday, including the Lord of the Rings series. So I have high expectations for my holiday reading plans, which you're about to see because my TBR, my potentials that I can pick from are a little bit insane. I'm taking 4 physical books with me and my Kindle, which I've downloaded like every book I have on there, just in case, because it's going to be mood reading obviously. So options physically are Chasing Shelter and Secret Haven. These are the last 2 books in the Sparrow Falls series by Catherine Cowles. I'm mainly taking these because I have no motivation to pick them up, so if I take them and they're my only options, then I have to read them. I'm gonna read 100 pages of Chasing Shelter today in preparation for wanting to then pick it back up when I'm on the ferry, because I think I could finish this on the ferry. Like, that seems doable. So yeah, I just want to get these out of the way, to be honest. The other books that I'm taking physically are one that I genuinely want to pick up quite badly, and one that I've been putting off for a really long time. So the one I've been putting off for a really long time is This Spells Love by Kate Robb. I don't know why I'm putting this off, because I'm pretty sure both of the books I've read by Kate Robb have been 5 stars, so this should also be a 5-star, you would expect. This I believe is magical realism. What is this? I don't even know. It says, have you ever had a breakup so bad you wish the whole relationship had never happened? Well, Gemma's wish has come true after one too many margaritas lead to her mystical aunt reading out a drunken spell. She wakes up in a parallel world where she didn't give years of her life to the wrong man. But you know what they say, be careful what you wish for, because not only is her boring ex out of the picture, but her extremely attractive male best friend also has no idea who she is. And in this world, Gemma and Dax don't have years of friendship history keeping them from becoming something more. Okay, this seems fun. I do really want to pick this up. Also, I love the sparkliness. You see, like, the moons and stuff. That's just cute. I really like this. So yeah, I do really want to pick this up. And then I also thought, in the spirit of Summerween, which I don't participate in because I don't read many thriller horror-y type books, I thought it'd be fun to read Slash or Pass. I bought this one when I was in Edinburgh. It's signed, sick, because it's from the, what is it even called, Book Lovers Bookshop in Edinburgh. And I can't remember much about this, but I do really, I remember really wanting to read it when I picked it up and then just not doing it. So let's have a read of the blurb. It's about to be one bloody Valentine. Watching your best friend run away after kissing him? Mortifying. Finding a dead body on campus with him days later? Even worse. That was the last time Mabel saw Danny, which didn't really set the stage for an epic love story. With her job at a dream horror studio, romance is the last thing on Mabel's mind until an anonymous Valentine's Day card arrives. I hate reading out loud, can you tell? Someone knows what really happened at Westbrook College, and they're ready to kill again. Mabel has no choice but to return if she wants to protect the people she loves, including Danny, now a promising hot law student. It's been a year since they talked, but the chemistry is as intense as ever, especially now they're trapped together, facing a killer in a Cupid mask. But as the heat of attraction with Danny cranks up and the body count rises, Mabel can't forget one of the biggest rules in a slasher. It's always the boyfriend. Oh, and don't have sex. This is giving the same vibes as How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates, which I mention this all the fucking time because it's one of my favourite books that I've read this year. Oh my god, I have a bookmark. I forgot I got a bookmark with it. That's cool. Yeah, it's giving How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates, which is funny because I imagine I bought this very quickly, either after reading that in Edinburgh or as I was reading it, because that also has like the 10 rules to avoid dying in a slasher, and like a guy in a mask killing people. So very similar vibes, which I think sets this up to be quite good because I really liked How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. So I definitely want to pick this up. I feel like this would be a really funny beach read. Like, the vibes aren't matching where I'm reading it, but I feel like it could be. So those are the books I have physically to potentially pick up. Then on my Kindle, I've downloaded In Stormy Weather by Chelsea Curto. These are all books still on my physical TBR as well, so I will really get a chunk of that gone. So In Stormy Weather by Chelsea Curto. I've got all of the Cherry Peak series, So that's 5 books by Hannah Cowan, I think. Hannah Cowan. I've also got Breaking Point by Mads Rafferty. I don't think I'm going to pick that up. I think that's going to be a bit too heavy for a holiday read. And then some arcs that I could potentially pick from. I've got Destination Funeral by Paige Harbison, which I do really want to read because I fucking loved The Other Side of Now by Paige Harbison when I read that last year. I've got Without a Hitch, which is an audiobook free on Audible by Portia McIntosh and read by Charlotte Ritchie, who I love. She's Alison in Ghosts. She's also been on Taskmaster. She's been in, oh my god, what is that show? Fresh Meat, is that the name of the show? It's the one about the uni students. I really love Charlotte Ritchie. I've got In the Same Boat, which is an arc from Portia McIntosh. I've got Yes Chef, which is another arc I have. So I have loads of books to pick from. I'm obviously not going to read all, 11 books that I've just mentioned. Maybe I will. That'd be great if I could do that. But I definitely want to read like a book a day. I'm there for 8 days, I think. 8 days, including travel day 1 and travel day back. So I think it's doable. I do think it's doable, and especially like we have one day every holiday where we just go and sit on a beach. I can read like 3 books in that day, I reckon. I did that last year. Or 2.5 books I read last year, sat on the beach. So I fully intend to do that again this year. I'm really cracking down on my physical TBR. If you guys didn't catch my wrap up for last month, I currently have 15 books left on my physical TBR, and I fully intend to have them all done by the end of August. I'm ready to restock. So this would be obviously insane if I could do that, because I've got like 10 books from my physical TBR that I'm taking with me, whether physical or Kindle. So there's potential, there's real potential with this reading. Yeah, there's a lot to do. I'm gonna start Chasing Shelter today so that I can finish that when I'm on holiday. I'm also probably gonna read A Fellowship of Curses and Cats. That one's been staring at me. That's not one I have on my physical TBR yet, but I do have it pre-ordered. And it's on Kindle Unlimited already, so I might pick that one up. There's a couple potentials that I'm looking at, but I will get back to you probably tomorrow evening with updates on what I read on the way there, and if I finish anything, obviously I will let you know. So as I said yesterday, I did end up reading A Fellowship of Curses and Cats on the ferry today, and I did actually finish the whole thing, which was great. I love that I've already completed one book. I really enjoyed it as well, actually. So it's book 4 in the Adena Shah series by Jay Penner, and it's just like a really cozy fantasy. Like a whole bunch of nothing really happened, but I like in the best way. So we're following Theo, who is a character we've met before. He's the love interest from, I think, like book 1. Book 1 or 2, I think he's a love interest in, and he is feeling a little bit stressed about everything in his life, so he seeks out a potion person. He buys a potion basically that's meant to calm him down, and it presents differently in all the different kinds of elf, because he's an elf. And the way that this potion tries to calm him down is by giving him an abundance of cats. And to make the best of this situation, because he is about to open a new cafe, he decides to turn it into a cat cafe to explain why he's got so many cats with him. And it was just really fun. Like, it was silly, goofy, fun time. I'm giving it a 4-star. I am definitely happy to have read it. I don't know where it stands within my ranking of the series, because it felt like a whole lot of nothing was happening. But I kind of enjoyed it. It was really good mindless reading for on the ferry. So having finished that, I do think I need to crack on a bit and read some more of Chasing Shelter, because I know myself, if I don't pick this up now, I'm not going to pick it up, because I'm still a little bit burnt out on Catherine Cowell's Sparrow Falls specifically, because all of her books are very formulaic. They all follow a very similar structure, and I obviously the month before, binge read like 4 of them back to back, and that did not help. So I'm gonna give this one a go. I'll probably get bored about halfway through and switch to something on my Kindle. But that is fine, because as long as it's on my physical TBR, I don't care how it gets off my physical TBR. So I'm gonna crack on with this. This one will bring us down to 14 books on my physical TBR. And yeah, basically once I finish this, I'm gonna reward myself with Slash or Pass, because that's the book I actually want to be reading right now. So hopefully I finish this soon. Last night I did attempt to read some more of Chasing Shelter, but I literally got about 60 pages in and I just don't want to read it. I just don't care. We all know how it's going to go. The formula is formulaing. I don't care about the characters. You know, Trace, I was interested in his story maybe 3 books ago, but now I've read the same thing over and over again with the same characters and I just don't want to read it. So I think I'm going to DNF this and actually DNF the series as a whole, because I think it maybe should have been 3 books, not 6. So with that said, I do need to pick a new book for today. Now, I really want to pick up Slash or Pass, but I'm going to be in a car, which makes me want to have something on my Kindle as well. So I might start in Stormy Weather by Chelsea Curto and also take Slash or Pass with me, because then if I go to a beach I can read Slash or Pass, but if I'm in the car I can read in Stormy Weather. Makes sense, right? So that's my plan, and I will check in later, I guess. I've just got back from having a really nice time at the beach. I was there for like 5 hours, and you can tell that because my nose is a distinctly different colour to the rest of my face. And I've got like a weird tan line situation going on here. I'm not really sure how that's happened, but we're going with it. And whilst I was there, I did sit and read basically the entirety of Slash or Pass. I started this morning, read maybe 50 pages sat in the accommodation we're in. And then when I got to the beach, I was like, right, time to lock in. And I did lock in, and I really enjoyed this. So I think I did explain the whole premise by reading the blurb when I was at home. But brief summary, Mabel goes back to her college where a year prior someone had been murdered because she's received a weird threatening note and picture of her sister, who is now attending that college. And she goes back there, she finds out that her sister has also received one of these notes, and so it's a much more dire situation than she initially thought. And she ends up going to a Valentine's Day party thing, basically just to keep an eye on her sister. And at this party, there is a masked killer on the loose, and they all get locked inside one of the, what are they called, sorority houses, frat houses. So I love the premise, I really do, but it's incredibly similar to How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates, like really similar, even down to the fact it's a Valentine's Day dating, like speed dating sort of party. So I'm gonna maybe have a look and see which one was published first, because I know I read How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates first, but I don't know when this one came out, and if it's gonna be like around the same time, or maybe, I don't want to say inspired by, like either of them are inspired by each other, because it is like, I guess it's not uncommon as a premise, but it's very similar to that. And I am gonna say I preferred How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. I think the way that one was structured was a bit like funnier, and like, I don't know, I preferred the romance in that one. Both of them have the whole like, here's the list you follow if you want to survive a horror movie, and I just preferred the way it was presented to me in How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. But that being said, this is still a 4-star, so I do highly recommend this. It was very much worth reading. Now I have to pick my next book to read, and I'm thinking that I'm not in the mood for In Stormy Weather yet, because I think that's going to be really similar to Chase Me If You Can by Heather Francis, which I only read like maybe 2 weeks ago, last week. So I think I'm gonna go for Strung Along by Hannah Cowan, which is the first book in the Cherry Peak series, which is entirely on Kindle Unlimited. So fingers crossed I like that, and it goes a bit better than Chasing Shelter, which I just didn't want to read that. So different author, different kind of, it's still like small town I think, but it's more cowboys. Again, I really hope I like that series, because I very specifically want to read Stealing Sunshine, which is book 4, because that is sapphic, and I want to read a sapphic cowgirl romance. That sounds awesome. So if I don't like book 1, I might still read book 4 just because I want to. And I really love the covers of this series actually, so I really hope I like it so I can keep them on my shelf. But I'm gonna crack on and read that. I think I'm gonna stay in this evening because my family are going to a pub and I just don't feel up to it. I'd rather sit and read, which is really bad because I'm on holiday. I should socialise, but tomorrow is a big socialising day because it's my dad's birthday, so that's going to be full on. But I'm going to do some reading tonight, I think. I just want to get a little bit more done. So I ended up reading the entirety of Strung Along across 2 days. So I started it Saturday night, read about 40% of it, and then finished it yesterday, Sunday. And I really liked it actually. I was really worried I wouldn't like it because I own the whole series, and that does tend to be what happens when I buy the entire series before I've read book 1. Yeah, I really liked it. So we follow Anna, who her fiance cheats on her birthday, and so she ups and moves to Cherry Peak, which is where our series takes place. And when she's there, she gets off on the wrong foot with Brody, who is a musician that is back in town because he's on vocal rest. So we've got a celebrity romance, which I do enjoy celebrity romance. We've got like rivals to lovers, kind of like dislike to lovers, which again we love. And then there's also an element of hidden identity because Anna texts a wrong number a picture of her wearing this dress she's gonna wear to a wedding. So all tropes that I love. Excellent, we love that. I think I'm gonna give it a 4-star because, and this happens a lot in cowboy romances where the guy calls her woman, and I just don't like that. That doesn't sit right with me. I wouldn't like it if someone called me that, which I don't, you know, let me know if you agree that it's a bit outdated, but it does happen a lot in cowboy romances. So, but I'm very excited now to read the rest of the series. But I've learnt my lesson with how I read Sparrow Falls, because with the Sparrow Falls series, I read 4 books back to back, and by the 4th one I was like, right, I'm done now, I don't care. And I've DNF'd that series. With this one, I'm gonna try and do it that I read a Cherry Peak book, then I read something else, then a Cherry Peak, then something else. So I'm kind of spacing them out so that I don't get fed up reading the whole series back to back. So I think today I'm going to try and read This Spells Love by Kate Robb. This is the only other physical book I've brought with me because I'm not reading the Sparrow Falls ones that I brought. So I'm gonna crack on with this today. I do want to finish it because I think this is one of my smallest books on my TBR. Let me have a look how long it is because I don't think it's very long. It's 321 pages, so this is definitely doable in one day. But I don't know what the plan is today because it's already like midday because I slept in. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I love a magical realism. I've loved every Kate Robb book that I've read. I've read 2 of them so far. I think there's only 2 other than this one. So I'm very excited to read this. And I think she's got a new one coming out in October that I'm also quite excited for. So I'm gonna crack on with this and I'll get back to you probably tomorrow with an update on where I get to and if I'm gonna go straight into, I think the next Sparrow Falls book is Catching Sparks. I keep forgetting the names of the books because they're all very similar. But I think the next one is Catching Sparks. So I'll see you tomorrow. It has been a couple of days and I've actually finished 2 more books. So I finished This Spells Love and I think I'm settling on giving this like a 3.75, 3.5. It was fun for the most part. I think we took a while to get to the chunky plot that I was after. And it's like not so much second chance, but like, I don't know how to, like, it feels second chancey because of the setup. So we follow Gemma, who casts a spell to basically like have never dated her ex because he's awful. And in doing that, she realizes she goes to an alternate universe where she's never met her best friend Dax. And because during this spell her and Dax kissed, she now has to find a reason for him to kiss her so that she can redo the spell so she can go back to her universe. But obviously along the way she starts falling in love with Dax. So that was our premise. The execution I think was a little bit slow. I didn't really like it. And again, it falls into that weird like almost second chancey sort of situation, because they get to like do over their friendship, and I just didn't care for that. So I think 3.5 is fair for this. I'm going to keep hold of it because I have all of the other books by her and they are apparently part of a series which I was unaware of. So I'm going to keep this. And then I have actually read book 2 of Cherry Peak, which is Catching Sparks, which follows Poppy, who we met in the last book. She is a pole instructor. That's pretty cool. And it also follows Garrison, which is Brody from book 1's boss, and he is like a proper corporate bigwig and she's obviously not, and he ends up having to go to Cherry Peak because he basically fucks up at his job, and his dad, who also runs the business with him, is like, yeah, you need to go away for 2 months, so I'm sending you to Cherry Peak, which is fun. That I liked the premise. Like, it's very similar to the first book's premise because in that book Brody gets sent, well not sent, but he's on vocal rest if he can't go anywhere else. But this one's a bit more like forceful. And it's kind of like dislike to love, but it's also very insta-lusty. It was very smutty, which is an interesting choice for a book I was reading on my family holiday. Yeah, I didn't really like Garrison. I think he was a bit of a dick the whole way through. And like, there's a bit where he's apologising and he just buys her stuff. And I'm like, that's not a fucking apology. That's not an apology. Try again. Yeah, so I didn't really like Garrison. I like Poppy, but if I had, this is what I would have done if I wrote the series. Bryce, who is another girl in the series, and Poppy, lesbians. That's what I was anticipating from book 1. I thought it was going to be Bryce and Poppy. I was wrong. I'm disappointed. I wish it was Bryce and Poppy, but I did enjoy this. I think it's another weird one where I don't really like, I don't want to give it a 4 because I didn't like one of the characters, but on Goodreads it's marked as a 4. It's probably more like a 3.75 again, 3.5, because I enjoyed it. I read it very quickly, but it wasn't really like, I'm not gonna read it again. So with that said, I now don't know what to read next because I'm worried that if I read the next Cherry Peak book, I'm not gonna like it and I'm gonna end up DNFing the series. But also, because I'm only reading on my Kindle, I don't really have too many options left of what I can read from my physical TBR. So I think I'm just going to take a little break from reading today so that I can decide what to pick up next, and I will get back to you when I've decided what to read next or I finished it. So it is my last day and I think I'm going to end the video off here. I know I'm going to do some more reading today, so I will obviously include that in the final like wrap up, I guess. But my thoughts and feelings on everything, if I remember everything. So we had A Fellowship of Curses and Cats by J. Penner, which I think I gave 4 stars. I've already forgotten all my ratings. I've done too much reading this week. But I gave that 4 stars. It is the only cozy fantasy series that I actually enjoy. So I don't know what the difference is, but I enjoy those. I obviously DNF'd Chasing Shelter before 100 pages, so that does not count towards my reading goal. But that does mean I'm DNFing that series as a whole. I will not be continuing that. Then what else did I read? Slash or Pass, I gave a 4-star. That's probably my favourite read of the trip. I really enjoyed that one. I highly recommend it. I had This Spells Love by Kate Robb. I gave that a 3.5 in the end. Just wasn't my favourite from her. I didn't really do second chance type things, and that felt very second chance to me. So I just didn't, it was a bit slow for me. Then I think the rest of the books I read are the Cherry Peak series, which I always forget the names of each book, which is not helpful in this current moment. But book 1 I gave a 4-star, book 2 I gave a 3.75, and then book 3, which I'm currently reading, I think is going to be another 4-star. I'm really enjoying this one, so I'm really glad that I've continued that series, which gives me a final total of 7 books attempted, 6 books read on this holiday, because as I said, I do think I am going to finish, is it Choosing Home, I think is the one I'm on. I do think I'm going to finish that today because I've got a 4-hour-long ferry trip. So that is it for this video, and I'll catch you next week with another one. Bye!